Hey, what's going on, folks? Yes, thank you for watching another episode. This is Just My Opinion with Ryan. We're hosted by none other than Ryan. So, before we get into it, you already know the vibes. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Also, if you have any comments, please leave them in the section below. Let's have a back and forth. Let me know what you thought about my perspective, my reactions, recaps, whatever it is. And I'm also open to any type of recommendations for other shows and movies to watch. So let's get into it. Yes. So Bel Airs Finale just ended the other day. I think it was well done. I think that whole first season is such a success. So much so that it's already been renewed for a second season. So I am happy about that. I think this show is something that could be going on for a while. Hopefully 6 to 8 seasons or however long it needs to go on. I really enjoy it. I'm all for it, man. And let me tell you one thing. I feel like this was just a perfect way to wrap up the season. And one thing about actors, I don't care if they're comedians, I don't care if they do dramas, whatever the genre, actors are going to act. And I think we all saw that through Marlon Wayans playing Will's father, Lou. And yes, that was one of the big shockers for me. That was a huge reveal. I mean, of course, when they think about Marlon Wayans, you think about what, White Chicks, Scary Movie, the Wayans Brothers show he had where John Witherspoon played the father. You don't think about Marlon Wayans when it comes to a drama. And in this case, he was the pivotal part in a highly, highly emotional scene. So actors gonna act, man. That's just the bottom line. So I know I'm ahead of myself, but I thought that reveal was just amazing. But, this was almost a tearjerker for me. I was like this close. I mean, this close from crying. I mean, I had some water in the eyes, like onions was being cut, but I didn't necessarily cry. But I thought this was a great episode, real talk. As it started out, we see that Vivian is having some type of art highlight show, highlighting all of her art and so forth. And you can see that Phil is talking to Will, and even just at the beginning, it's just showing how emotionally intense this episode is going to be. I even thought that was a very heartwarming moment. He's letting Will know that, hey man, I have no regrets about, turning down the race that he was in. He has no regrets of stepping out of the race. He was very proud of what he did, and he has no regrets about supporting Will. It was just love, man. It just shows that, in my opinion, like Phil was the ideal positive male figure that someone like Will needed in his life. And even that scene or that exchange, I thought was just heartwarming about just how, Phil was just like, I stand by my actions. I'm proud to support you. I'm proud of everything I did to get you out of that situation. I don't care what it risked. It was well worth it just to give you a better opportunity at life. Even something like that was just dope to see, man. And just other things about it. Carlton seems to have turned a new leaf. And I'm not going to say my favorite characters, but I think that's like one of the most improved characters. Like if it was like a sporting event, Carlton definitely has to get most improved, man. Like he turned his attitude towards Will from something that was so negative to being like kind of the heel of the show. And now he's just cool, supportive, everything was like that. You gotta respect it. So, even that one part that really, it was small detail, but it really touched my heart as well. When Carlton goes in for that hug on Will, and he slips him like a clip full of money, I thought that was heartwarming, man. Especially when you see how they just kick things off on the wrong foot. I thought that was hard, man. I thought that was so powerful and loving. That just really touched my heart watching as a fan, man. That part where he just hugged him and slid money in his pocket to the point where Will didn't even know. I thought that was dope. And even the part when Carlton went to Lisa, like, hey, man, I know y'all on bad terms, but you got to help me find Will. Will is the only person who believed in me. He got me out of drug addiction, and he was damn near breaking down in front of Lisa. So I think, as I mentioned earlier, Carlton definitely has to get most improved in a show or something, because he went from heel to a favorable character really quick, man. Really quick. I just like the moves that people are making. You can see how season 2 will go into effect. Things are already, in motion with certain characters. One of the things I didn't like, I'm not really crazy about this business deal that Hillary has going on with, I forget the name of the show, but Karuchi trans character. That seems like that might get messy. In my personal opinion, I feel like whenever you mix friendships with business, and they apparently seemed like they was cool, or something like they were cool before this, but getting into business with somebody that you're friends with is just like a completely different step. And so I really feel like something is going to get messy between Hillary and Karuchi in the next season. You already see that there might be a possible love triangle with that, with Jazz, Hillary, and Karuchi. Jazz, I guess you could say innocently flirting with Karuchi, and she's always like, flirting Ivy. Matter of fact, that's what her name is. Jazz with the whole line of, oh, your name is Ivy. I hope you don't poison me, huh? And, of course, Ivy was like, maybe I will. It was just very awkward to even do that. Granted, Hillary and Jazz don't have a title, but just a flirt like that in front of somebody that you're talking to, that was kind of bold, but whatever. I've been out of that type of game for quite a while. But I think that's going to get messy. Whatever type of business relationship they got going on, it's almost as if like, okay, you're going to be moved from being owned by the white guy who had the YouTube house to Ivy now. And so she's just pretty much buying your stuff, and she's going to feel like she's the boss of Hillary. That's how I see it. But nevertheless, that wasn't the biggest part of the story. I still didn't like the whole relationship between Will and Lisa. And I still think Lisa is taking things out of proportion with the whole situation with Will lying to her about what really brought him to LA. I mean, yeah, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like that's a situation Will should have left alone anyway, being that one, that's Carlton's ex-girlfriend. But also on a bigger note, it's like, all right, look, I understand your feelings are hurt, things of that nature. You don't want to talk to me, fine. Sometimes you got to give people their space. It's like, all right, you want to act all funky towards me. I understand. Cool. You know what? I'm going to give you your space, and when you're ready to talk, you know how to find me. I think that's how Will should have carried it instead of trying to, keep pursuing Lisa in the first place, which unfortunately didn't work out. She finally gave him that time and place of where they can meet and talk about some things at the coffee shop, and with good reason. Will unfortunately had to stand Lisa up. And nevertheless, that's when we get to that big reveal. Lou comes to the house, was like, yeah, I hear my son's looking for me, this and the third. And you can see that tension was already built up. It was almost like, it was just almost like Thanos into the building, which I know that's far from the case, but you could just tell like things were very tense in the house once Lou came by. And I can't front, that's one of the things that I kind of didn't understand was, if you rewind a little bit, Jeffrey was like, man, once you look at these papers, it might affect your family in a whole different way, this and the third. So I thought it was going to be something deeper than what the actual truth of it all was. It was like, okay, so the truth was, Phil was Lou's lawyer. Lou went to jail for basically robbing somebody, beating and robbing somebody, and Phil was a lawyer. That's all I took from it. I didn't take this whole, man, what you read might really affect the family. Like, I thought it was going to be a situation where, like, I don't know, Phil did something underhanded and Lou took the rap for it or something like that. Or, maybe, I don't know, like maybe Lou killed somebody that Will knew and did, but I don't know. But whatever the case it wasn't that drastic, in my opinion. I mean, yes, Lou went to jail. Yes, maybe it's kind of embarrassing that Phil is a lawyer and he lost his case. I know some lawyers take that personal whenever they lose a case. But it wasn't something like that drastic that it's like, man, once you read these papers, man, it's going to affect your whole family. I didn't really think it was that deep. But then we get to that big reveal, as I teased in the beginning. Marlon Wayans, finally meeting Will, or Lou finally meeting Will, and everything seems to go cool at first. You hear that Aunt Viv gave Will, man, you hear that Aunt Viv gave Lou the pep talk, like, look, you better be the best damn father of the year when you act with Will. Clearly you can tell that Will is loved in that house, from Phil, Vivian, his cousins, so things of that nature. So, but nevertheless, the fact that Vivian made it a point that Lou better act like he's a father of the year candidate and all that stuff, I thought that was big. I really enjoyed seeing these people come together for Will. So I love the pep talk. And the reasons why Lou was trying to justify why he didn't see Will, that wasn't anything. That didn't make any sense. I know at one point in the show he's talking about, I wanted to get on my feet first before I saw my son, and it's like, it's way deeper than money, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like, he tried to be like, I don't want my son to see me in this particular light, things of that nature. And it's like, it's not about that, man. Like, the moment you got out of jail, wherever Will was at the time, you could have reached out to him and been proactive about seeing your son. I think some people have a misconception that money would mean happiness for my child, and that's not always the case. As a parent myself, most of the times, like, all my daughter did when she was, young and growing up is just quality time. Oh, hey, let's go watch your favorite Disney movie at the house. Let's go play at the park. Let's go play on the swings. Whatever the case is, you don't need this deep, thought out money scheme. Not scheme, but you don't need money to make your child happy. Really, I think time has more value than money to a child. They just want to spend time with their parents. At least until they grow up and then they get their own lives and their friends, and then it's a different story. But when they're kids, they'll just spend time with the kid, man. And so that whole excuse about why he didn't see his son, that was bogus, of course. But one thing I will agree with Lou on. Lou said he didn't want Will to see him in prison. He didn't want Will's first reaction of seeing his father be in prison. I totally understand that. I get that part. I can see how that could be depressing for the father and son. So I totally understand that part. But there's no excuse why you can't, be there, end all be all, proactively seeing your son once you get, like, first day you come home. Go, make amends to see your estranged son. So, but as you can see, things got very intense. I ain't gonna front, like, I am on Will's side for the most part of that argument. But fam, he was barking on Lou. Will was barking on Lou something serious. And the part that really, like, I guess you could say shook me as just a fan watching the show. They had that yelling match, and of course Lou was wrong for talking bad about his mom. But I can't remember the exact line, but I definitely remember how it ended. But whatever harsh line that Will said towards Lou, I just know that it had like a pause. And then Will said, "You bitch ass nigga." I was like, oh, see, he barked on him. That's, even though, yeah, it's like, I'm surprised Lou ain't try to fight him. I'll be honest, I'm surprised Lou ain't try to fight Will off that. Cause that was like a strong exclamation, man. So just the acting is so good. That was a very intense episode. And unfortunately, the way it ended, it's almost like Will feels betrayed by everyone, and he just drives off to try to clear his mind, I guess. He doesn't know if he wants to go back to live in Bel-Air. He's packing his bags as if he wants to move back to Philly. I don't know. But that part was very unfortunate, but I am glad to see that Jazz was talking to him at the end of the episode to try to bring him down, try to calm him down, try to, remind Will that he has a whole house of people that love him. So that whole episode, I swear I didn't cry, but the whole episode was just one emotional roller coaster. And I will, end this video with this. I know I said it earlier, but let me repeat myself. Actors are going to act, all right? And I'm all for giving these people that you normally see in comedy roles. I am all for giving them a chance at something serious, a chance at a drama. Like Marlon did his thing. Hell, Jamie Foxx, he started off with In Living Color. I mean, not In Living Color. Well, yeah, In Living Color. He started off with In Living Color, but boy, he can definitely get you with some serious roles. You know, Ray, Collateral Damage. I mean, there's so many other serious movies that Jamie Foxx has did, but he got to start off with comedy. Regina Hall, from the Scary Movies, co-starring with Marlon Wayans, but she's been in some serious roles. She had that very she scared the hell out of me when she was in that series with Michelle Pfeiffer and all those other famous faces. The name escapes me now, but you know how I do. I'm gonna put it in the edits. And there's another movie I gotta check out, Master, where Regina Hall is like a serious horror movie. So I gotta see how that goes, man. So I'm all about giving these actors, you know, that you're known for comedy, give them a chance at something serious, man, and they can really knock it out the park. And I'm sure I'm missing a whole slew of other actors who started out with some comedy stuff but can get serious. Hell, even Ryan Reynolds, he still is mainly comedy, but when he was in that Amityville horror movie, that scared the hell out of me. He sold that serious role. So that's what I'm saying. No matter what genre that you start from, actors are going to act. You give them a role, and I feel like they can embody it. Well, if you haven't got on the train yet or on the bandwagon for Bel Air, you still got time. The full, complete season is available on Peacock, and it is a joy to watch. I highly recommend anyone to see it. I know I'm going to check it out when season 2 drops. And hey, love it or hate it, this is just my opinion. Peace.